In this video, we're going to talk about how you build a private health insurance and what's important when you consider a specific tariff. Okay, so let's get started. If you look at a private health insurance, you typically have, let's say, 3 to 4 tariff modules. Okay, the first one is the private health insurance itself, so the health insurance part. Second, an option, contribution relief for retirement. So you have a lower contribution for your health insurance in retirement. Daily sickness allowance, I will explain that in a few minutes. And the nursing insurance, which is mandatory if you make the switch. So you see the private health insurance part, so the health insurance itself and the nursing insurance, these two are mandatory if you consider switching to private health insurance. Okay. So what should you consider for the health insurance itself? Well, you should consider 3 points. First, so-called outpatient treatments. Second, being in hospital. In my opinion, it's really important to have access to private clinics. Doesn't matter how much they charge. Not that many tariffs cover this part. And the third part is dental treatments. And here it should be important that they, let's say, always pay without the permission. Because if you have certain costs for, let's say, orthodontics, most insurance companies says after 2,500 for the sum of this treatment, you need the permission first. And if you have to ask for a permission, they might say no. So this is really nice here if you have a proper tariff. Outpatient treatments, you can choose the hospitals, for example, if the ambulance needs to come, that they drive you to a specialized hospital and not just to the next one. That you have coverage, let's say, for alternative practitioners. So chiropractic, for example, if a physiotherapist is unable to recover your proper back condition, and so on. So many things you need to be aware of when actually building the health insurance itself. I don't want to discuss everything now, this would be too much, but just so you know what you should keep in mind. Let's talk about it more in the general terms. Second would be contribution relief. So you have the option, for example, let's do it here, contribution relief, to increase your contribution gross by 70 euros, for example. But private health insurance, like statutory health insurance, is paid by you and your employer. So let's say employer and employee. 50-50, which means you only increase your net amount by, let's say, 35 euros. If you increase your net amount by 35 euros, now it depends a bit on your age, how much time you have until retirement. This would lead to a contribution relief of 300 euros. Which means your contribution in retirement is guaranteed 300 euros less. So let's say your total contribution is 600 euros currently for private health insurance, including more or less everything. Okay. Now the employee's part, minus 300 for the employer, so your part is 300 euros. Health insurance part. Now you have 300 euros, so let's say your contribution doubles, the employee's share doubles until retirement, so 600 euros, because of price increases, inflation, and so on. Now you have the contribution relief, again minus 300 euros. So you would end up having still 300 euros health insurance contribution. So let's say the full contribution is 1,200, but not the employer is paying 50% in retirement, the state is paying 50%. So in the end, you remain your own contribution. This is how you could solve, for example, the retirement issue in private health insurance. So something you should consider when opting for private health insurance. However, you only go for this option if you are sure that you would like to retire in Germany, because otherwise a contribution relief for the retirement contribution for health insurance is obviously not necessary. Daily sickness allowance. Well, if you are sick for longer than, let's do it here, if you are sick for longer than 6 weeks, you would only receive 70% of your salary. It's called Krankengeld. So you would receive 70% of your income if you are sick. But this is only considered to 62,000 euros gross, because this is the contribution limit for health insurance. So if you earn more than 62,000, you wouldn't receive more. So this is capped here. So it's 2,622.50 is the, sorry. Let's do it like this, 3,622. This is the maximum limit you can receive as payment from the health insurance if you are sick for longer than 6 weeks. Okay? But if you have a net salary of, let's say, 6,000 euros net, then you see, obviously, here is a big gap. So it might make sense to consider daily sickness allowance so you can cover this gap by your health insurance, because if you cover this gap by your health insurance, also the employer would pay 50%. So let's say you have 50 euros more for the health insurance, but employee also the same. So you would pay 25 euros more out of your net salary. So you have, let's say, 6,000 euros covered and not only 3,622, let's say. Okay? So this is something I would recommend, because now let's look at it holistically. Let's say you own real estate, your partner's not working because your partner's taking care of children, maybe part-time, maybe not working at all. You're the main earner, you have 6,000 euros net, you think, okay, all good, nothing can happen. But if you're sick for longer than 6 weeks, doesn't matter why, you would fall to 3,622, so you would lose 3,000 euros. Let's say you have a mortgage for your house, might cause issues. So also something you can easily avoid by having a proper daily sickness allowance. You see, it's not that expensive, and then this case is also solved. And the nursing insurance, like I said, is mandatory if you make the switch, because this is one part of the social security system in Germany. What we might add is the so-called flex option. Because the flex option gives you the flexibility to switch to a new tariff in the future without a new health condition check. Because might be the case that this tariff in the next, let's say, 15 years, the health insurance tariff itself becomes more expensive because more old people are in this tariff, and more old people might be sicker. And if they are sicker, so the overall group of insured people in this tariff is sicker, then the contribution grows. This is the main reason why private health insurance grows, like public more or less. Then you might want to switch to a new tariff, so more younger people are in this specific tariff without a new health condition check. This gives you the option with the flex option. Also, if you would like to increase the benefits in the future, especially if you're older or if you have any issue and you would like to have even better benefits in private health insurance, this flex option might make sense. Costs 5 euros and that's it. So also something that can be considered. So if you would like to have help with your private health insurance because you're not sure what are the advantages, the disadvantages, and what's important if you consider making a switch, feel free to reach out, visit our website, register for a free initial consultation, and we will see which tariff suits you the most. But we also might say stay in statutory health insurance, at least for now. So talk to you soon and take care.